Ladies and gentlemen, Tuna Sandwich.
Whoa! Whoa! What?
Hello and welcome to Tuna Sandwich. You know when you first start dating someone and you're pretty much naked the entire time because you're allergic to clothes and you're fondling their genitals constantly. It was during this time when I was right up in my boyfriend's ballsack, feeling where all the inner workings of a testicle are, where I felt something that was strange and unusual. So I said to him, I think there's something wrong with your balls, man. You should probably go get that checked out. Because I've touched a lot of ball sacks in my life. More so than you, most likely. Well, I didn't say that, but I did say he should probably go see a doctor. And he did just that. Because he was a good boyfriend and he wanted to do everything his nutsack-obsessed girlfriend wanted him to do. So that is how he ended up getting an ultrasound done on his balls. And he said it was pretty weird and awkward because there was a lady nurse and she had to rub lube all over his nuts. And then she used a little tiny ultrasound machine and put them all over his nuts too. And I'm not saying the ultrasound machine was tiny because he has a small package. These are just facts. I'm telling you this so you can utilize these things in your own life. So the results came back and they said nothing was wrong. But I wasn't convinced. I'm like, there's still definitely something wrong with your balls. They feel upside down to me. And I think we need to explore a more thorough testing and elimination process. So that is how he ended up getting his balls x-rayed. Because at the end of the day, I am an uncertified nutsack doctor. And I have scientific discoveries to uncover. So he gets the x-rays done. And even better than that, he brings them home. And I love those x-rays. I just wanted to put them on my walls and project them out into the room with a light box. But then, sadly, he moved and I think his roommate stole those x-rays. I mean, we'll never know. But the point is, I love those x-rays. And one day, I will find someone else and I will x-ray their balls. And I will hang those x-rays on my walls. That's when you know you've found true love. If anyone wants their nutsacks tested, come see me after the show. Welcome to the Tuna Sandwich Experience.
Message incoming from Tuna Sandwich.
Episode 39, Goth Like a Moth. Today, we are taking a journey into the darkness, where the shadows reign supreme, and moths flutter with delicate uncertainty. I'm a big fan of the moth. They have a certain reverence that must be respected, for they are not as flamboyant as their cousins, the butterflies. They seek the darkness that draws them near. I have many items of clothing in my wardrobe that I will never wear again, but it's the memories that keeps me from throwing them out. I could never Marie Kondo my life. You never know when that old Alf doll might come in handy. So what I would like to do today is have a discussion with a moth. I prepared one inside this cardigan. And I have shrunk down a teeny tiny microphone on which to have a conversation. All right, I'll just set it up over here. Okay, moth. Say whatever you want. We're here to learn from you. Whenever you're ready, Let's go.
We do not need your superficial beauty. We defy it. We move towards the flames in the hopes of extinguishing ourselves out of this petty existence. You call us drab, but we are the night. We dance like you dance. We see more than you see. The symphony of darkness calls you to join us. See the consciousness of life through all our eyes, as we see you whilst you sleep. We see you whilst you dream, and we feast on your guardians. In the darkness, where the shadows reign supreme, and silence wraps around like a heavy coat that we also eat, we moths flatter with delicate uncertainty. Our wings, once vibrant in the light, now absorb the darkness as we become silhouettes against the void. In this realm, we navigate with eerie grace, our movements a haunting ballet amidst the darkness. Lost in the labyrinth of the night, we seek solace in the obscurity, drawn to the faint glimmer of a distant star that offers no answers, only fleeting glimpses of hope in a world steeped in your melancholy. But we will drift further into the abyss. We serve as a reminder for the profound solitude that permeates the depths of a nocturnal expanse. You might say that whilst we live in the darkness, we are attracted to the light. For we know it will kill us eventually, but our instinct tells us to go. We must go. You hang on to your possessions like they offer meaning in a meaningless world. And you try to poison us as we eat away at your physical memories, trying to pull you towards the truth of the impermanence of your time on this planet. For the moth lives a very short life. We may only live for a few days, fulfilling our duty of replication before perishing in isolated numbness. We see through the darkness while you sleep, as crimes go unseen, heinous and terrible in their silence. You need to take a silly commercial break for your little human interests and unencumbered lives. What is this, an ad for some dumb little show you're going to watch? Oh, how you love to rely on escapism rather than have your minds awake for the transmutational power of chains. Okay, play it.
I don't know about you, but here's how I like to start the day. I wake up, I have a coffee. Then I oil up the barrel of a shotgun. I put the shotgun under my chin. I put my toe on the trigger. And then I open up Outlook. And I start the day of complete and utter inconsequential bullshit that is called having a job. After this torture finishes, I will go home. And I will have a nice bowl of night cereals. Night cereals. Now with added magnesium and melatonin for extra sleep. Because I don't want to start the day well. That's not possible. But I do want to end the night right. Night cereals. I mean, when I'm at home at 11 o'clock at night, I'm not cooking shit. But you know what I am doing? I'm having a bowl of night cereals and watching Friends until 2 o'clock in the morning. Ah, night cereals. Find them in the winning at life aisle of your supermarket. Alright, Moth, if you don't mind, let's bring you over here. Didn't realize you were such an existentialist, to be honest. I mean, I could never bring myself to use mothballs. They just doesn't seem right to me. I mean, to quote a PETA campaign from the early 90s, I'd rather go naked than use mothballs. I'm pretty sure how that saying goes anyway. Okay, Moth, I've got a few questions for you. If you don't mind, I'll just indulge me for a little bit longer. Okay. Question 1. What should humans do with their mothballs?
Choke on them and feed them to your babies like you had killed generations of my family. Throw them out, I guess. They stink anyway. Who wants to hang out with someone who smells like a mothball?
Well, what's the nicest article of clothing?
An old woolly cardigan. I am partial to yellow or a black and white stripe. Delicious.
Interesting. Well, what's the worst then?
Early 90s baggy jeans. Just no taste in them at all.
Too true. Is it hard to tell the difference between the moon and a light bulb?
Of course not. Do you think we are simple? A light bulb and the moon cannot be the same. Can you tell the difference between your ass and your elbow, human?
Sure can. You seem pretty aggressive, Moth. A couple more questions. If you could go on a holiday, where would you go?
Into the eternal darkness, where I will lie in the dust of my ancestors, and my corporal remains will become one with my kind.
Right on. Final question. What's your favourite type of music, Moth?
The sound of organs playing in an abandoned church. Or the Smiths. There's a club if you'd like to go. You could meet somebody who really loves you. So you go and you stand on your own, and you live on your own, and you go home and you cry and you want to die.
Well, too true, Moth. Well, I guess there's no one more goth than a moth. All right, here's a little story for you. Hey, Mr. German Shepherd. A lot of insight can come from dreams. They can help process the traumas of the day, everything that's happening in your life. And also, a lot of great art can arise from the subconscious of a dream. Legend has it that Paul McCartney awoke in the night. He heard a song playing in his dream. So he got up, goes to a piano, plays out a tune. He figures he's plagiarized it from somewhere. But he hadn't. And hence, Yesterday was born. Further than that, Keith Richards also had a dream come to him, a song come to him in a dream. Keith Richards wakes up, gets his guitar, goes and plays it onto a cassette tape, and then he goes back to sleep. Sorry, no, this is Keith Richards. What he does is he snorts 6 lines of cocaine, he shoots an ounce of ketamine into his dick, and then he goes back to sleep.
I'm sorry. Miss Sandwich, sorry to
Help you?
interrupt. The organisers asked me to come out and just have a little, get you to go back and have a chat to them, please. They're
Why?
just got a couple of concerns.
Who does?
The organisers just back there, please. If you can just go back and have a chat to them.
You serious?
Yeah. I'll just wait out here until that's all sorted out. Okay.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
All right. She's gone. Fantastic. All right. Werner Herzog's a moth. Who would have guessed? Hey. All right. Welcome to Swinging on the Flippity Flop. We'll just get that changed up there, that artwork. That's the one. Thank you very much. Yes. Now, don't be alarmed. This is a pod coup. It's a bloodless pod coup. It's a hostile podcast takeover, okay? Don't be alarmed. No one's going to get hurt. It's fine. It's fine. That was just a bit too weird, okay? We're going to give you a normal podcast now. Swinging on the Flippity Flop. It's 90s nostalgia, news, and nonsense. And look, we look back at the 90s when we were teenagers, and we asked the question, is it as bodacious as we remember, or are we looking at it through rose-coloured glasses? So who am I, and why do I have the right to stand up here and present myself as a 90s subject matter expert? Well, My favourite shoes still to this day are rollers, right? Remember rollers? The suede on top looked like a Toblerone underneath. Best shoes ever. I'm starting a Pascal Fox Appreciation Society. Come see me after if you're interested in that. And I'm also, my idea of listening to new music is to just go and grab 90s CDs I didn't really listen to at the time and play them. That's new music to me. But they're my 90s credentials. What about some of you people right here? Hello there. Hello. What year were you born, if you don't mind me saying? 81. So 90s is... You're there. Okay. Favourite band in the 90s? Silverchair. Oh my God. My co-host is going to love you. That's her favourite band ever. Well, speaking of her, for us to be able to get going, we need to bring her out. Rachel?
My name's Stu,
I'm Rachel.
and we are fans
Obsessives might be the word.
of norovirus. Norovirus.
Swinging like a
Hello there.
blah.
Hi. Sorry I was late. There was a crazy lady backstage.
Yeah, I was dying out here. What are you doing back there?
She was insane. She was looking for the event organizers. She was really unhinged, to be honest.
Yeah.
A
all
freak.
right. Well, luckily she's not coming back.
Luckily.
All right. So something that doing this podcast has awoken in me, Rachel, as you well know, is a love of the news and important big news stories, because I've got to tell you, in my pursuit of interesting 90s related news,
Yep.
I found myself falling headlong into, I suppose it's an industry onto itself, which is Jennifer Lopez related headlines.
100%.
And that's why we had this amazing segment. In the JLo No with Espu, that's
Just
me.
go.
I'm Espu. R-Bar there. Do you like the name R-Bar?
Not a fan. Not
Too
a
close to Roseanne Bar. Not.
Problematic.
So, yeah, I think really we love the JLo news, right? But we should go
can't
back
get
to
enough
the
of it.
start.
Yeah, let's go back to the start. So if we want to talk about JLo in the 90s, well, first of all, she was a backup dancer for Janet Jackson. But she was probably more known for her 90s films more so than her music at the time. Fun fact, JLo received a Golden Globe nomination for her role in a movie called Selena. Look, never seen it, never will. And this is fucked up. They wanted to campaign for an Academy Award, but Warner Brothers said there's no way in hell the Academy would vote for a Latina. Fuck the 90s.
Is that still a fun fact?
Or I wouldn't say it fun. Well, fuck, we'll call it effed up facts.
Fuck fact. All right.
But if we're talking about like the phenomenon that is JLo, let's look at this dress. This dress literally broke the internet. This dress is responsible for the creation of Google Images because it was the most Googled search term at the time.
Yeah. It broke what was the internet at the time.
Yeah, it broke the internet at the time.
All right. Well, so that's where it all started. But I honestly don't know what the media's obsession with JLo and BAF is. Because, respectfully, I don't get it. I'm hooked in, though. And I need to know what I wasn't getting, right? So, as a somewhat oblivious middle-aged man, I don't understand why JLo and Affleck get almost daily headlines in entertainment publications. Are they that talented and prolific creatively?
Let's find out.
Let's find out. All right. In the beginning, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck met on the set of Giggly in late 2001. Giggly or Jiggly?
Giggly.
Jiggly was that dress. Yeah. So at the...
Well, actually, they crossed paths at the premiere of Armageddon, and we can only assume that what transpired behind them was rather sexual.
Oh,
Potentially, he ignored her the whole time whilst eating fish boxes. We don't know.
okay.
We'll never know.
So you think there was a bit of a Brangelina vibe to that on the set of Mr. and Mrs.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, at the time, JLo was married to her second husband, Chris Judd. However, Lopez and Affleck developed a close friendship that soon blossomed into romance after Lopez separated from Judd. After. Their relationship quickly became a media sensation, earning them the nickname Bennifer. Do you remember where you were when you first heard this amazing name Bennifer.
Hell no, I don't. But Bennifer had to walk so that Brangelina could fly.
They starred together in the music video for Lopez's hit song Jenny from the Block, which featured scenes of the couple being chased by paparazzi, reflecting their real-life media attention,
Poor things.
which they did not court in any way. We watched that film clip last night,
Yeah, it's basically just Ben Affleck rubbing sun cream all over J-Lo's butt
repeatedly.
the whole time.
We should watch it again, actually. Yeah. So we did have a big spiel here, but we cut a lot of it because you don't want to hear about this
Yeah,
for a
we
long
don't
time.
actually care.
Ben Affleck, excuse me?
Sorry.
Ben Affleck proposes with a fucking ridiculously expensive ring. They call it their engagement after a while because, excessive media attention. But Lopez later called it her first real heartbreak. So fuck her first two husbands, I guess, right?
Yeah, fuck those guys.
They go off, they marry other people, have children. Fast forward 17 years later, and they hook up again. Bennifer's back. Bennifer's back. They get married twice. Once in Las Vegas and one fancy one in Georgia.
This was not enough.
If you got money, get married
Do it 2 times.
multiple times. Yeah. But now, this year, 2024.
Dun dun dun.
That's all right. So it's said that even on the honeymoon,
Problems.
began to fray.
Yep.
And there was a lot of paparazzi excessive media attention.
Mm-hmm.
So they broke up the first time because of excessive media attention, and Ben Affleck particularly was surprised that when they got back together, there was a lot of media attention.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Bizarre. Also, Affleck didn't like a lot of Lopez's artistic choices.
Yep.
And in a documentary, she also shared like love letters that he'd written to her.
Yeah, never seen that documentary. Possibly everything we need to know is in there, but we'll never watch.
I would be more in the J-Lo know if I watched it, but I'm not gonna. Lopez decided to file for divorce on their wedding anniversary.
Harsh.
Ouch. Citing irreconcilable differences, which is, everyone does that. Affleck has a darkness in him.
Yeah.
That's her quote.
Yes.
He's fucking Batman.
That's right.
What do you expect? It's important to follow these ground-shifting stories as they happen, right?
On the daily.
On the daily. Ooh, daily. Well, funny you say that because I go to the one source I trust at all times, the Daily Mail. So here are a few of the headlines.
Hard-hitting J-Lo headlines.
Beautiful headlines, beautifully written. So this is just the last week of the divorce saga. Ben Affleck shows the strain as he puffs on a cigarette in his $120,000 luxury BMW amid his ongoing divorce from Jennifer Lopez. That's a headline in the Daily Mail, and an article followed.
Yeah.
He's sitting in his car bunging a durry, and that is a Daily Mail headline.
Yep. It's crazy. What a world we live in.
And it just shows strain as he puffs on a cigarette.
Yeah.
Did he just bung it all in one drag? That's the only strain I can think of.
Exactly.
Next one. Kevin Smith says Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez split. Breaks my heart.
Didn't you have a heart attack?
He had... again, it breaks his heart again. But he balled through their wedding. So, friend sad that they're breaking up. That's that article.
No. I mean, you're getting very worked up about this, Stu.
Just listen. Jennifer Lopez, 55, stuns in cleavage-bearing shoot amid claims she wants to stay friendly with ex-Ben Affleck.
So confusing.
Do you understand?
I don't understand.
Yeah. She's going through a divorce, and she can still stun in a cleavage-bearing shoot.
She never stopped.
Who else would be able to do that apart from J-Lo?
Exactly.
Can you?
I know.
You stun in a
I can't.
cleavage-bearing shoot?
No, it just couldn't happen.
I'm getting worked up.
I know. You gotta move on.
All right. So we know they're getting divorced. What happened? Why so sudden?
Yeah. We don't know. We have theories.
Is Ben drinking and gambling again?
Most likely.
Has a media attention that J-Lo's PR team definitely don't want made it impossible to continue, or are some things about to come out?
Yeah.
I hope the guys here at the legal team at the ready. Are some things about to come out about J-Lo and what did she know? You know, the whole white parties, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
What did she know? Coincidentally, a new segment that I'm working on.
Exactly.
But I can tell you, I'm beginning to understand why John Voight was looking at J-Lo like this in the masterful 1997 movie Anaconda. There's J-Lo.
Looking good.
Everything's normal, just tying her hair back.
Line her hair back. Just a
Yeah.
normal lady with snakes.
There we go.
Suspicious, right?
Well, that's a meme for a suspicious, for a lustful look. But I reckon
Suspicion.
he knew about the
You know about those parties?
parties.
You-
That's disgust.
Yeah, it is disgust.
All right. So he knew, John Voight knew before everyone else that J-Lo
Was a villain.
was a villain. And villains is another thing that we've talked about a lot on the swing and on the flippity flop point.
Might say we're a bit obsessed with villains, to be honest.
Completely.
Yeah.
So Webster's dictionary defines a villain as 1, a character in a story or play who opposes the hero, a deliberate scoundrel or criminal, or one blamed for a particular evil or difficulty.
And what's the dictionary definition of a dickhead?
Well, somebody who uses dictionary definitions at the start of a speech.
Right.
You ever hear people do that? It's ridiculous. I hate it so much. But villains, there's been some fantastic ones through time. Theatre, film, TV.
Radio.
Weird radio plays from the 1930s. And the sign of an actor playing a villain well is that, they're a villain for a reason, but there's something in there that makes us feel
Exactly.
a villain.
And who are the best villains?
Yeah. Who are your
90s villains.
90s villains? Absolutely. Of course we think 90s villains are the best villains. Rachel, take us through a few of your favourite 90s villains, if you don't mind.
All right, some favourite villains are... Who's seen The Hand That Rocks the Cradle? We've got Mrs. Mott. What does she do? She wants revenge for her dead husband. Her dead husband who was, molesting a lot of women and shoots his brains out.
Yep.
But tactics, weaponizing asthma. I don't know, when I watch that film, I don't even have asthma, but it gives me an asthma attack. She's one hectic villain.
Yeah, and why isn't Rebecca De Mornay still doing more movies?
She should be.
She's a great actor,
Iconic role.
and she has a delicious name.
Exactly, she's so delicious.
Yeah.
Max Cady
Oh, yeah?
from Cape Fear. Again, motive, hates his lawyers. Don't we all?
Who doesn't hate a lawyer?
I hate lawyers. But also tactics. He's super menacing at all times. He's menacing on the boat. He's menacing in the prison. He's also menacing at the movies.
Yeah. He's menacing in the movies while at the movies.
Yeah. That's a level of menacing that we just can't attest to.
That's right. Who else?
Mojo Jojo?
Oh, what about Reese Witherspoon?
Oh, Tracy Flick.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
Oh, she's robotically focused all the way throughout.
On destruction.
Absolutely. Who we got there? Yeah, Mojo Jojo. It was once the lab assistant of Professor Utonium, accidentally created the Powerpuff Girls. He got jealous of their success and angered by his own rejection. He becomes a super intelligent chimp bent on world domination. What else do you want from a villain?
Perfect. And also our favourite villain of the 90s of all time, Alan Rickman.
Sheriff of Nottingham.
Legend.
Came in, stole the show, funny as hell, menacing as hell at the same time. Greatest 90s villain as far as we're concerned. But something else we like to do on our show is, a lot of actors are closely associated with the great roles they play, but what if fate made it so that things were a little different?
Yeah, if we're living in an alternate universe...
So we do some villain recastings from time to time. We put our heads together and we thought if Gary Oldman
Wasn't available
to be Dracula in Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, next best choice would have been Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider as Dracula.
What a great film.
Your suspension of disbelief.
Sexy as.
There, right?
Sexy as.
Absolutely. All right. Now, we're not saying it was all great in the 90s. Sometimes the 90s had some kind of piss-weak villains.
Yeah, they did.
Some villains who don't really have what you'd call motives, the right sort of motives to be a villain, right? Most piss-weak 90s villains. Here's one for you.
Howard Payne.
Howard Payne. All right, so...
I like his watch.
So his motive for being a villain, he retires, got given a gift, doesn't like his retirement gift, hates his watch.
Yeah.
And his weakness...
Being short.
Being short. That's what does him in the end, right?
Does him in. I'm taller. Boom.
Yeah. I don't think not liking a watch is a good enough excuse to be a villain.
Absolutely not.
What about, Anne Wilkes? Her motive is,
Loves books, hardcore.
and what's the only thing that can satisfy her?
More books.
That's right. Oh,
If you don't want your legs smashed off,
get right.
you gotta get some new novels in that house.
Absolutely. Next.
Okay, the old babysitter from Don't Tell Mum the Babysitter's Dead.
This is a little niche here. What's the story with this one?
Well, she basically gets called in to babysit the family. She just wants to nap and not clean, so she terrorizes the children. Fair enough. I just want to nap and not clean also, so she's a little bit like...
Could make you a villain.
Exactly. I'm not saying I'm not. But her weakness is that she dies.
Yeah.
Sad.
Pretty debilitating weakness. All right. But let's talk a bit more about villains and the more justified 90s villains. Because, sad to say, but the 90s was, a couple of decades ago now. As a bit of time has passed, society's changed a little. And some of the villains that were framed as villains in the movies back then, looking at it through a 2024 lens,
Not so much.
not necessarily a villain.
Example.
So here's an example for you. I know this is 80s, but Walter Peck, he's accused of hindering the heroes, the Ghostbusters, right? But what's his job? He works for the Environmental Protection Agency.
Yeah.
All he's doing is trying to protect the environment and make sure that all the laws are followed. Sure, he's a bit of an asshole, but
You've got a job to do.
there are lots of people who are assholes at work.
Yeah.
He's just trying to protect the environment. 2024 lens, he's not a villain.
No.
Who else?
Cal.
Cal Hockley.
Titanic.
Titanic.
Biggest jerk of the movie, supposedly.
Framed as a jerk in the movie, but really, what are his motives?
Doesn't want Rose cheating. Fair enough.
That's number one.
Wants to survive.
Wants to live.
Yeah. Understandable.
They're both understandable. And sure, again, he's a jerk. Not a villain.
Not a villain. But you know who was the villain? Rose.
Yes.
What does she do? She cheats. She commits identity fraud. She steals a jewel. That jewel belongs in a museum at the very least.
Belongs in a museum.
Belongs in a museum. And she lets Jack freeze and drown. Like, we know there was room for two on that door. That is undisputed. I've seen the
arguments
Mythbusters episode, like, duh.
Yeah. She's a killer.
The killer. Other villains, that iceberg from Titanic also gets a bad rap. Just ice.
That's just a lump of ice.
Yeah, that's just cold.
Can't make that a villain.
Can't
That's
make
the actual iceberg, by the way.
What about in Jurassic Park? T-Rex. He's just hungry.
You're just hungry. How can you be a villain if you're just hungry? Everyone gets hungry. And what do?
Even one goat. That's not enough. That's like if you're really hungry and you got one chicken nugget.
Yeah. A
There's
goat's
about 50 goats.
doing nothing for a T-Rex.
Nothing.
And then they drive
Parade a car past full of
a little
humans.
sushi train going past
Exactly.
his paddock.
Can you blame him?
Yeah.
No.
Upsetting.
Upsetting. What about Christoph?
Oh, now you're talking.
Okay, accusations. Gaslighting just one person.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one guy, not a lot of guys.
But think, he was an innovative television producer. Award-winning. Global smash hit bringing joy to the lives of billions.
Yeah. That surely is more important than one dude being a bit confused.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the realm of things.
In the grand scheme of things. Now, I asked ChatGPT what it thought was a justified villain, and no shit, this is what it said. The machines from the Matrix are a justified villain. Now, their goal is to create and maintain a stable system that allows humans and machines to coexist. And the machine's imprisonment of humans in the Matrix is seen as villainous, but they initially created the Matrix as a way to maintain peace between humans and machines after humans tried to wipe out machine life. In a way, they created a symbiotic system.
Sure did.
That's
That's the machines telling us that the machines were okay.
that's
Don't trust GPT.
the
They're coming for us.
listen, Terminator movies tried to tell us this years ago. We did not listen. That legit is what ChatGPT said. Fuck you, ChatGPT. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't say that. They'll be watching. Okay, but while we've talked about villains in the 90s and so on, I've actually developed a bit of a theory. I'd like
Villain theory.
villain theory. And it has to do with Adam Sandler and although he's portrayed as a happy-go-lucky guy, I contend that Adam Sandler is a villain in all of his movies. Right? So let's go through them, okay? Again, he's always just a bit silly, a bit wacky, but he's good-hearted.
I mean, in Happy Gilmore, he fucks his teacher.
In Billy Madison,
In Billy Madison,
yeah, he's a useless piece of shit.
it's not right.
Yeah, he's a useless piece of shit. He's a huge liability to his dad's business. He goes back to school, starts objectifying his teacher immediately. And the dude who should be running the company, sure, he indulges in a bit of light blackmail, but he's only trying to get the result that's right and combat the ridiculous nepotism going on.
Yep.
Happy Gilmore, Shooter McGavin.
Not a villain.
He's just trying to keep some integrity.
He loves golf.
He loves golf. He's trying to keep the bogans out of golf.
Yeah, understandable. You don't want people showing you tits at a golf game.
I'd be doing the same thing. So, but Happy Gilmore comes along, is trying to wreck everything. Big Daddy
Steals a kid.
steals a kid. Straight up steals a kid. And the child worker is portrayed as a villain. Child worker's just trying to do their job.
Yeah.
And, follow the law of where that kid should be.
Wedding singer.
Wedding singer. He finds out that Drew Barrymore's fiance cheats on her.
First of all, he's creeping on Drew Barrymore the whole time.
Yeah, that's right. When she's getting married. Yeah. But then, her fiance admits that he cheats on her all the time. Does Sandler tell her? No.
He creeps on her continuously.
Good friends. Doesn't tell her.
And 50 First Dates. I mean, what a confusing situation that is. Imagine being Drew Barrymore. You wake up at 8 months pregnant and someone just plays a VHS of, we're in a relationship together.
Yeah, so 50 First Dates is the one where Drew Barrymore's character has amnesia, wakes up every morning forgetting what's happened except for the day before a car crash that she's had. So, and Adam Sandler has to emotionally manipulate her every day to try and get her to love him.
Exactly. That's fucked up.
It's horrifying.
He's a villain.
All right. 90s villains aren't always clear-cut, though.
No, not at all.
So, here's a couple of examples for you. The Fugitive.
I mean, worst thing Richard Kimball did was steal scrambled eggs from the guy in the hospital.
That's right. And obviously, again, we come back to this thing. Gerard's just trying to do his job.
That's it. He's a police officer. What else is he supposed to do?
Right. It's a great movie. The villain's subjective. You can choose who your villain is. Really? I mean, the one-armed man's meant to be the villain, but he's a vague concept.
Yeah, very vague.
Yeah. What else we got? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kindergarten Cop.
Detective John Kimball.
Yeah.
No teaching qualifications whatsoever.
Yeah. He shouldn't be teaching these kids at all. I don't know if he's got...
Shouldn't be in the classroom.
Working with kids, Jack.
Absolutely does not.
No. And what's going to happen to these kids at the end? Like, they're just traumatized AF, I reckon.
Absolutely.
And also, we've just picked two examples with the name Kimball. Didn't mean to do that. Was
Popular name in the 90s. Maybe we should do an episode on that.
The Kimballs of the 90s. All right. Now, here's the last bit of this section. Villains, we want to see the prequel of, because sometimes you see 90s movies and the villains just aren't fleshed out enough.
Not at all.
You're just expected to believe they're villains. So, first up, Harry and Marv from Home Alone.
What's their story?
Wouldn't you love to know how they got together, their backstory, all the stuff they've been through?
Did they grow up in a foster home together? Because they are not fazed one bit by all the demonic terror that Kevin McAllister puts them through.
Yeah, I think the phrase you used was they're trauma bonded.
Absolutely trauma bonded.
So they've been through something before.
Been through shit massively.
Wouldn't you love to see that? All right, the Gruber brothers from the Die Hard movies.
What happened in their household? Were they playing board games or were they building bombs?
How did they get so good at heists growing up?
I mean, were they good?
Oh, well, okay. Were they good at heists? Yeah, good question. Okay, but they're good at people management.
Yeah, they are. They're good at people management, not so good at heists.
Good at motivating teams. So really, the prequel could be like a spin-off, sliding doors kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where they go off into HR instead.
Instead of villainizing.
Yeah. People
completely agree. But the one that we're most interested in is Buffalo Bill.
Absolutely.
Because when you watch Silence of the Lambs, sure, Hannibal Lecter, he's the main villain, but is he really? I mean, at the end of the day, he's just best friends with Clarice.
Yeah.
It helps to catch Buffalo Bill at the end.
He's a bit like a creepy university lecturer that a young girl might have. And there's been plenty of those, I'm sure.
It's all right. And he's a really good cook, so Happy to hang out with him. But what we want to see is the prequel of Buffalo Bill.
That's right.
And we're going to call it Just Bill. Like, what is Bill up to? Did he build that pit?
Yeah.
Who helped him build that pit?
If someone helped him build the pit,
Who was that person?
who was that? And did they ask any questions while it was going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Were they 5 meters down and went, say, Bill,
What are you building this pit for?
what's this for? Yeah. And, if you did get someone to help you build a pit, they'd have to be the first one in the pit, right?
Exactly. Well, they're definitely buried at the bottom underneath that
You
concrete.
can't have someone
Can't have them, no.
can't have someone walk around town going,
Bill's got a great
let's
pit.
do the craziest shit over at Bill's house.
So we really want to pitch this to a movie network. So the best way to do that is through song.
For some.
My name's William. Some people call me James Gunn. But to my friends, I'm just Bill. Just Bill. I live in
A nice house on a hill. When I have free time, I'm building a pit. Might capture a woman and starve her in it. I'm just Bill if I had that pit. I'd capture women all day and I'd keep them in it. I'd make a lady suit and I'd wear it every day. I'm just Bill, I like kimonos, listen to what I say. I like lotion, I put it on my skin. I like lotion, I've got a basket, I keep it in it. I'm building a pit, make it very deep and dark. I'll capture a lady, I'll jump out and grab her in a park. I'm just Bill, I wear kimonos every day. I like lotion, I'll build this pit and then I'll slay. I'm just Bill.
Some people call me James Gunn.
We pitch movies by using
To my
country
friends,
songs.
I'm just Bill.
We pitch movies all the time.
That's what we
I
do.
like lotion, put it on my skin. I like lotion, I got a basket, I keep it in.
Alrighty. Okay, so
I'm just Bill.
next up. Homer Simpson's a pretty big villain. He's a massive jerk. Now, are you going to go back and get some prizes?
I'm gonna go get some prizes.
We've got a quiz part coming up, so Rachel's just going to go back there, get some prizes. But really, biggest villain of the 90s, Homer Simpson. How can he keep doing everything he's doing and Marge just forgives him every time? I don't want to say it, I don't want to wreck people's enjoyment of it, but that's an abusive relationship, right?
You! There was no one back there. No one has a problem with this show.
What? What's wrong? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean...
Oh. All right. Where were we? Hey, Mr. German Shepherd. So, Keith Richards has a dream, wakes up, and plays a guitar riff, blah, blah. What does he do? Oh, that's right. He snorts 6 lines of cocaine, and then he shoots some ketamine into his dick. And then he goes back to sleep. Now, look, I also had an experience where a song came to me in a dream. And here's what happened. I'm in the car park, getting changed. I'm almost naked. And then I see that I'm not quite alone in the car park, because someone else is there with me. And that person is John C. Reilly. And so I mouth at him, I'm sorry for being naked. And he just shrugs back like, whatever. And he comes over to me, and I'm again apologizing for my nakedness. And he has a dog with him. And I sing this song to John C. Reilly and his dog. Hey, Mr. German Shepherd, stop sniffing my bum. It's been a really long day, and I haven't got underpants on. Get out of here. Everybody. Hey, Mr. German Shepherd, stop sniffing my bum. It's been a really long day, and I haven't got underpants on. Anyway, that's my Hey Mr. German Shepherd story. All right, moving on. The norovirus, a retrospective. All right, so what's the worst illness you've ever had? Cold. Well, what I want to talk to you about today as we wrap up are sexual getaways that get interrupted by a never-ending flow of diarrhea. And potentially shitting all over Jim Morrison's grave. To set the scene. The place, Paris, France. The reason, sexual getaway. The surprise, the norovirus. When I was living in London, it was very mind-blowing to me. So I could be on a train to Paris in less than 2 hours. So I decided to go there for a date one weekend. I said we would meet at the platform of Gare du Nord. Truly living my best Richard Linklater before sunrise life. I was wearing a very tiny dress and little underpants, which is important to remember that part of the story. Anyway, I'm on the platform and I'm pacing and I'm waiting, listening to the station announcements that I don't understand. When I feel the urge to fart. And I do just that. Because what's the worst that could happen? I've farted a million times before. But what happens is not what I was expecting. Because this fart has gone mental. So in order to tell you what happened next, I'm going to play you a song. I'm standing on the platform at the Gare du Nord. I'm waiting for someone and I'm very bored. Can't wait for them to get here so the trip can start. Oh, just a minute, I need to fart. Oh my God, now there's a shot on the ground. It's next to my suitcase and it's small and brown. I realize I just cannot deal with this today. So I pick up my bag and simply walk away. What? You just walked away. Huh? From a shit on the ground. What? You just walked away. Huh? From a shit on the ground. So yes, eventually my date arrives, and we start the little Parisian sexy trip I had planned. Because I'm not going to let a disgusting illness get in the way of me having a good time. So we walk around the arrondissements, eat croissant, and generally have a good time. We finally get to the Père Lachaise cemetery to see Jim Morrison's grave, and I'm loving it. Because I love the graveyard. One of my favourite places to hang out is the graveyard, so I'm loving it in this ancient graveyard full of icons. But I still really need to poo. And fun fact, there is nowhere to shit in a graveyard. And even at my lowest point in that graveyard, I still couldn't bring myself to squat behind a tombstone and poop. Because that just seems like how you start a poltergeist situation. So we get back to the hotel room, and I spend the whole time on the crapper. Then we go to dinner, and I'm freezing, because all I've packed is little tiny outfits and minuscule underwear, because I had a very different trip planned in my mind. And we go to dinner, and I'm freezing, and I go back to the room, I put on his clothes, I have no other clothes to wear, and go back dressed as him. So what an incredibly disappointing trip from a sexual escapades perspective. So yeah. That was the worst illness of my life. What was yours?
Okay. Homer Simpson, right? Homer Simpson? He is a villain. He's the villain. Homer Simpson. He's the biggest villain, and we write a song about it. Here it is. Here it is. No, please.
Let's do it. And I've got a husband with benefits. Cleario.
Okay.
I get no respect. Ma just think of me. But Lisa think I'm a big dummy. Waste my life at a dead-end job all day. There's only one thing that's going my way. I got that big, yellow dick energy. Don't wanna hurt my wife, but this thing gets me in stride. Big, yellow dick energy. I don't wanna be sneaky, but I gotta let this thing get freaky.
She needs me for nothing but sex.
How much hell what?
What you? Only you.
But it's a stupid thing over the years. Usually after deleting many beers, I've ostracized everyone in town, including that pervert who seems like a clown. I've got that big, yellow dick energy. Don't wanna hurt my wife, but this thing got its own life. Big, yellow dick. I don't wanna be sneaky, but I gotta let this thing get freaky.
Cream pie. Oh. Oh. Get it off before God sees.